I wanted to get into a dark story. We'll try to keep family friendly, but I want to open up this very disturbing segment by just letting you, Siraj, know. Did you know that Luke's been to Epstein Island?
In what capacity?
That's the right response. That's a good response to have.
In what capacity?
This always happens all the time. It's so frustrating.
So who was the first person who reacted negatively? The point was that after the raid and everything was cleared, Luke got on a speedboat and was filming, the island and stuff. But when you tell people Luke's been to Epstein Island, they immediately go
when?
What
time?
Yeah. Well, allegedly after he
pre or post
he died, and when there was that video footage from that drone coming out allegedly showing someone that looked exactly like Epstein on Epstein Island after he allegedly killed himself, that's when we decided to take the speedboats, jump on the island, and kind of film and see whatever we could get from that particular nasty, horrible location where atrocities were committed.
I like that pre or post.
Yeah.
Well, we got. Okay, so I like to do. We'll get a little humor in there and make everybody laugh on a dark subject because this story is going to screw you up. From Fox News, CNN producer accused of child crimes. Once decried growing news stories of child abuse cases in old tweets, New Day producer John Griffin faces up to life in prison. According to this report, I'm trying to keep it family friendly for you guys who might be having kids nearby because this is dark stuff. He worked shoulder to shoulder with Chris Cuomo. He paid a woman $3,000 to bring her 9-year-old daughter to his home where he committed a very serious atrocity against that child. And that's what he's accused of. And I do think it's fair to say, even in the most heinous of crimes, we must recognize innocent until proven guilty. But these are very disturbing accusations against somebody working high level at CNN. We also have had a bunch of other stories too that I want to just briefly mention. The CIA who was soliciting children, and they didn't want to prosecute him because they were worried about state secrets. And then, of course, the very obvious elephant in the room, Epstein, which has not yet been resolved, but everyone knows. And so the issue I have is, it's really fascinating to me that if you follow the establishment, they'll tell you there's a conspiracy theory that powerful elites are abusing children and trafficking them. And sure, yeah, some of it is out there crazy conspiracy stuff like, vampiric global elites are exsanguinating babies to live forever or something.
Drink their blood.
Which is a gross exaggeration of people who do get blood transfusions to try and increase their health or whatever. But the reality is, more and more stories are coming about high-ranking media establishment elites who are abusing, and that's not committing atrocities against children. Let's just call it atrocities.
Yeah. Wood chipper, all of them.
Yep.
No.
Well, you're not pro wood chipper?
I'm not. No, we got to lock them up.
Man,
Come
this
on.
has been going on since
Not even
the
just a
dawn
little
of-
wood chipper?
It's like okay,
lock 'em
when
up
you
forever.
when you get into a massive amount of power, do you go crazy? Because you're like, I am now in control of the slave ship. I decide who lives and dies. I'm insane now. So they tend towards this behavior, like what these people are doing to kids, or is it that those people? It's not natural. It's not natural to do that. It seems. I don't know, man. You study the history of humanity. Girls were getting married when they were 12. 1,000 years ago.
A lot of people gain a lot of power and a lot of money, and a lot of it goes to their head. There's megalomania. There's people literally having God complexes. If you look at Jeffrey Epstein, he was into population control, eugenics, like a lot of very powerful people are. Now, this kind of CNN, CIA connection, doing horrible things to children is not rare, as of course there have been many instances when this has been happening with very powerful people, including a lot of people that are connected to the royal family that were doing similar actions that are absolutely unspeakable and horrible. We have Jimmy Savile. We have the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom previously beforehand caught red-handed doing unspeakable things, mainline celebrities. But hold on, I just want to make this one final point here.
I'm not gonna stop your train of thought. I'm just gonna add one thing. There's a photo of Epstein at the Queen's cottage.
Yes, but it's not just that. It's not just that. It's not just Epstein and Ghislaine and there's also Kevin Spacey hanging out at specific areas that only the Queen's allowed to be in. So it's Kevin Spacey, Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein, but there's also photos of Ghislaine Maxwell pictured with Jeff Zucker's wife. Jeff Zucker is the chairman, CEO of CNN, and Ghislaine Maxwell is pictured many times with his wife. There's also pictures of Ghislaine Maxwell and the founder and the owner of The Atlantic. The Atlantic just wrote a piece that was entitled "The Great Fake Child, blank
Abuse.
Expletive." the fake epidemic that's not happening. And they wrote an article about how this is all not happening just recently during the middle of the Ghislaine Maxwell case, which is absolutely absurd to say the least. And to see the owner of the Atlantic with Ghislaine Maxwell, to see Ghislaine Maxwell with Jeff Zucker's wife, to see Ghislaine Maxwell with so many other powerful people. Now, it could be Ghislaine Maxwell just storming in, taking a photo there. I'm not here looking to make any judgments here. Correlation does not prove causation, but there sure is a lot of coincidences. There sure is a lot of these very powerful people that do work together, that do have similar actions that are unspeakable to children, that deserve to be called out for, that deserve to be held accountable for, that people deserve to be at least in prison for the rest of their lives for the horrible actions that they committed against children. And a lot of these crimes are not prosecuted. A lot of these crimes, the people who did the horrible things, they're able to get away with them. And that, to me, is the biggest injustice, because in a lot of these cases, your tax dollars are paying for these people's protection. And that's absurd.
I have to
crazy.
say, so I'm never going to run for president. But if I did, my main platform would be wood chipper.
We've got to lock people up. We've got to lock them up forever. More people need to be imprisoned for a longer amount of time, and many other people should not be imprisoned for nonviolent offenses.
For people who commit crimes against
nonviolent.
children in that particular manner, prison's not good enough for them. Prison's too good for
So
them.
you're saying death penalty?
That's the only time. Wood chipper.
I'm just anti-death penalty, man.
I mean, no, don't get me wrong. I'm anti-death penalty too, but
For this group of people.
but this particular one, I'm making a
And you know, the thing too is, like, I really think the prison system doesn't work. But for people who abuse kids, I think we need a special place to lock them up. Excuse me.
Yeah, a lot of times,
Like Epstein Island.
when people leave prison, I don't know if the numbers.
They enjoy that island, so I'd rather.
Oh no, I meant like it's only them though.
Maybe like the base of a volcano. Maybe a base of a volcano.
It seems like prison doesn't make people not pedophile. Like if someone's a child abuser, they go to jail. It doesn't seem to make them not a child abuser anymore. Like they get let back out, and I don't know what the recidivism is exactly.
Well, they sure face a lot of punishment. A lot of people who do hurt children, when they do end up in jail, face very, very tough circumstances by other prisoners who make sure that they face the full ramifications for their crimes and atrocities. Now, the problem is there's other people who are falsely accused. So, that brings up a very interesting, question and dynamic to everything. But when people who do hurt children go to jail, they have one of the worst times imaginable. The stories that come out of people who do that are absolutely crazy.
And look, like I said, even the most heinous crimes, the CNN producer, still innocent until proven guilty.
Right, and yes, the extenuating. I believe in our justice system. I believe that forensic evidence will prove guilt or innocence.
Well, you never prove innocence.
Well, I'm sorry.
They are
Apologies.
innocent.
Apologies.
That's right.
Misspoke. Proves guilt.
Do you support the death penalty, Luke?
It's something that I haven't come to a conclusion on. It's very hard to make that kind of call. Based on each circumstance, based on the situation, it's hard to just generalize that kind of concept and idea, because it's something that I need more time to
I have to say,
research and study.
Part of me was trolling a little bit because, yes, I am actually very anti-death penalty. I mean, for example...
I don't think the state should have the right to kill somebody.
Oh, for sure. You don't give that power to the state. It's actually... You're letting him play God.
I should very, very much clarify that statement, right? There are certain circumstances, war, conflict, the defense of others, obviously. I just mean like empowering the state to decide they can end someone's life.
Right.
I think you convict someone, you go through due process, then you can, lock them up.
Like on the real, like I'm definitely anti-death penalty, and I'm with you on that. Lock them up, and
Yeah, never.
And I think that, as you were saying, Luke, yes, people who commit crimes against children, they definitely have the worst experience in prison. So I'm perfectly okay with that.
That's okay, at least.
But wood chipper.
I tend to support the death penalty. My whole life, I've supported the death penalty, but I mean,
Why support the death penalty?
because I think some people are so deranged and damaged animals that they are just a detriment to our species.
Well, okay, so let's do a vote right now. How many of you here think Ian is being a detriment to us, and we should have the right to end his life?
I think we should take away his phone.
Oh,
See, there you go. So look,
And that's the segue to the
None
list.
of you will ever be judges.
My point is, to be an individual, to have your own life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, and then to have the majority just to say, we decide what morality is, and our morality dictates, we as the majority can vote for the end of your life. I say that's just absolutely incorrect. You can't do that.
That's the history of our species.
And that's wrong.
Tossing people out of
and
the
that's
tribe.
wrong, because what's going to happen is you're going to get a bunch of wokists who are going to be like, you said a hate speech, off with his head.
Hurtful speech.
What about when one guy's like eating all the tribe's food and you're like, stop. And he's like,
It's called tying up his hands and being like, no, you can't use your hands.
Yeah, and then he's like, okay, what are you talking? So then you let him go and he does it again. So then when you kick him out of the tribe, then he raises an army and comes back and kills everyone and
You're
takes
at
the
war.
food.
No,
at what
Ian,
point do you just nip
That's
it in the
ridiculous.
bud?
That's ridiculous. Just because someone is exiled doesn't mean they're going to raise an army.
Well, that's what Napoleon did. He got exiled, and then when he came back, all his old generals joined him again, and then
Sounds like
But
his
then
old
he
generals
lost.
were friends with him.
Yeah.
Sounds like he never lost his support from the.
Should the French have executed him when they arrested him the first time after he,
No.
Really? You don't think so?
Dude, I don't believe in the death penalty. I think, how about if they didn't exile him and they put him in the was it the Bastille? Is that what,
They didn't want to martyr him, so they exiled him. But then
and they could have just locked him up?
But they didn't want to martyr him. They thought that if they
So
publicly
what you're
punished him,
saying
that-
is that what you're saying is that Osama bin Laden is still alive and that he's being held
Basically.
in a CIA black
That's what I've
site
been saying.
because the United States did not want to martyr him, right?
Yes.
I believe it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
You're
that's
on-
why
you're onto
they
something.
that's why
I-
they followed strict Islamic protocol and
Right.
dumped him into the water,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Which
pure.
obviously is never in any kind of Islamic
Exactly.
script or understanding. at all.
I don't even necessarily agree with imprisonment to a certain extent. Like, I think if the community decides you are a threat or a danger to others, then exile is the right way to do things. The problem is in the modern world, it's impossible to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because everything's controlled by somebody. There's an interest everywhere. There's tons of people. So all they can really do is say, hey, we can't let you go because no one else is going to be happy if we do that. So we're going to lock you in a box forever. And I'm like, I'm not a big fan of that, of like 10 people saying, we believe you did X, therefore we can take away your life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, because those people often are wrong. They're more often correct, like a jury of your peers. I think for the most part, our judicial system does a good job of protecting innocence, but a lot of innocent people go to prison. And I agree with Ben Frank, the founding fathers' view on the right of the accused to be innocent until they are innocent until proven guilty. In that, if people believe that the state at any point without reason can strip them of their rights, then they have no reason to believe and adhere to that system. Meaning, if it gets to a point where people are just like, why bother? They could arrest me anyway. Might as well shoplift.
Right.
Why bother playing by the rules if they're not going to play by the rules either? And that's where we're going, and that's freaky to me. We're at a point now where we can see Hillary Clinton, 30,000 emails deleted. Nothing happens.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're heading in that direction already because, and again, the more information that we're exposed to, the more we understand that the game is stacked against us or rigged. And basically, it's a big club and you ain't in it. We're not in it.
I'm thinking about all that oil money.
Although, Tim, you might be in it.
I don't know. Maybe. What does it mean to be in the club?
I don't know. You tell me. You're in the club.
What does that mean? I don't think I'm in the club. I think just like.
You get the same medical treatment as Congress does that nobody knows about.
Yeah.
No one is
That's
supposed
true.
to talk about.
Yeah.
That could be one of them.
Well, I'll put it this way: there's a crab. There's a barrel full of crabs, and I'm the crab on top of that barrel trying to climb its way
There
out.
you go.
And everybody's, crabs in a barrel, and the
Yeah,
crabs are pulling back.
yeah,
They're-
yeah.
I think you're in tier 3 club.
There's a bunch of crabs outside the barrel, and they're doing that crab dance.
Yeah.
And then there's
and
tier
that's
2.
Congress and CEOs
Yep.
and global elites and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's the tier 2 club is like the Elon Musk and those people, and then the tier 1 club is like Davos and I don't know, Saudi
Council on Foreign
princes
Relations.
yeah. I would agree with that. Like, Elon Musk is powerful, but I don't think he's Davos powerful. You know what I mean?
yeah.
He might be the richest guy in the world. That doesn't mean a whole lot. Like,
Yeah.
it means he's the richest guy in the world. He can buy a super yacht.
Yeah, but
They
he's
can
working
turn off
on
his bank
he's
account.
working on AI technology. He's working on microchips inside of human brains. So he might be, especially with how much power technologically he develops. So it could change at any moment. He has enriched himself a lot recently, and he made some very interesting comments against the vaccine mandates just a couple of moments ago, which I think are very important.
What did he say?
So
Do you want to? Are we going to talk about that?
we're gonna talk about the list. But
Okay.
I was going to add one more thing about the death penalty to give some agreement to Ian, because some people are chatting some good points. One point is The state does have the right to end someone's life in self-defense or in defense of others, as a person does as well. And there's an argument that through due process, the state has determined for the safety of the community, this person cannot be, confined or held. It's just too dangerous. And so thus, this is, how some people justify the death penalty. I don't agree, because the risk of the state to callously and incorrectly execute the innocent is too great for me to support a system in which the state is authorized to end life.
Dude, in the age of deepfakes, like if someone gets caught, committed, accused of a crime that they didn't commit, but there's a deepfake of them doing it, that's going to be just terrifying.
Oh man, it's
and then you're going to have, but it's beyond that. You're going to go to court, and you're going to have a prosecutor stand up there and say, "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the defendant used hypertext markup language through the hypertext transfer protocol to gain access to information that you would not be able to get access to." And the jury's going to go, "Oh, maximum sentence." Anybody understand what I just said? I said he's going to type in a URL. He's going to type in a web address. But I witnessed this happen to some degree in the trial of Weave back when he was being prosecuted, because someone he knew entered a URL and got an email address, and then he said, "Let's send it to journalists." The feds prosecuted him on this, and it was hilarious to hear the prosecutor explain during a sentencing why he should be locked up forever, because he used hypertext markup language through the hypertext transfer protocol to gain access to people's private information. Why should he have the right to use his knowledge and power against us? And I was just like, bro, he literally just told the court that some dude typed into Google some words and now we should go to prison for it. And regular people don't get this.
Yeah.
It's not even about deepfakes. It's about, we're beyond the point where a regular person can understand every system. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Man,
when
this
the
stuff keep my
prosecutor's
throat.
more focused on winning the case than
Yeah.
justice, that's a
Right.
problem
I mean,
too.
imagine facing off with state prosecutors like Binger and Kamala Harris going against you, knowing that you're innocent, and still arguing to keep you in jail or to punish you for a crime that you didn't commit. And there have been innocent people that have been sent to jail that didn't commit any crimes. And there also have been people who have been sentenced to death and killed by the state that were innocent and never committed the crimes that they were told to have committed. So there's instances of that as well that we need to recognize. And this is already without the deep fake technology that you were talking about, Ian.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to watch live, you can check out this channel Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Now, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, and if you want more unfiltered and uncensored content with all of these guests, go to timcast.com and become a member. All of these guests you know and love in exclusive segments on our website where we are unrestricted in what we talk about, so you'll definitely not want to miss it. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all next time.